Thank you, Rob. I will talk a little bit about how to request the human subject data that, like Rob said, is not something you can go to our website, click on the file and download it, but you actually need to go to a process of requesting access. So all the data is free and publicly available because it's a free resource. You don't have to be a member of any consortium or company or anything in order to access the data. Everything is free and public, but data that is human is protected, and therefore you have to go through a process to get access. And once you are granted access, we tell you how to download the data to your machine. So just to give it a bit of an introduction, I want to say that why we're getting access from or requesting human subject data from FaceBase. First of all, because it's by far the most comprehensive repository of data for the DOC community, and we have very large data sets. Right now, we have summing all the data. We have data for almost 50,000 participants, which I think is a very large number. That's a number that actually has increased 3 times during this year by accessing some of these new data sets that we have. Something that I want to mention is that we keep using the word data set, but in many other repositories, the data set is sometimes a file or a PowerPoint or a few files. When we talk here about data sets, these are basically studies that are very large and very comprehensive, and some of them are actually what people consider as an entire database that data has been gathering, and people have been working on this data for decades sometimes. We have all these very large studies available, so it's very interesting. Just to give you some idea, so we have a very, very large collection of facial scans from different parts of the world, one from Tanzania, from North American children. We have the actual raw data for all the facial scans, that's the database of facial scans that is a feature in FaceBase. We have now a large collection of RNAs, ChIP-seq, all type of sequencing data also for humans. We have now lately acquired or got data for very comprehensive oral health studies and facial oral cleft studies from the Pittsburgh University. These are very large studies that have been going on for years, and they're very interesting and have very interesting data, both images, surveys, etc. Anyways, so like I said, all this data is available, but it's controlled, and in order to get it, you need to submit what we call a data access request, or DAR, and I'm going to show you a little bit how to do that. So it's basically a simple step, a few steps process. First of all, the first step is you need to gather some institutional documentation. That's probably the most time-consuming for you, to be honest. Then you need to go to our site, and I'm going to show you a little bit of that now. Complete this form. It's an online form that we call DAR, which is the data access request. Enter all the documentation, upload some of these files with the institutional documentation. Then you submit that. That goes to the NIDCR Data Access Committee, or DAC, that reviews your submission. And once the DAC approves the submission, we instruct you on how to download the data. The data is valid for 1 year, but then you can renew or revise your DAR. So let me give you just a little bit of more information on how to complete this data access request form. So the first thing you have to do is, and everything is available on our website, and here are the actual links. But first you need to submit complete a form that is called the Data Use Certificate Agreement, which is available on our site. So you go to our site, you download that form, you fill in your information. You need to get that form signed by your information technology director in your institution, you, that is the principal investigator, and the institutional signing officials. Right now we are in a process of changing some things, and now only the PI is the one that can actually sign and enter the DAR. Then the next step is you need to log in as a user. So if you're not a user, you can request joining the FaceBase user group, and then you join with that with those credentials. You go to the page where you start your DAR. You complete, there are like 14 fields that you need to fill in. You upload the files. For example, if the data, different data has different data use limitation, some of this data requires an IRB letter, an IRB protocol, you have to upload those copy of those files to that form, and then you sign the form, and that submits. Then you have to select the list of data sets that you want to actually request access to, and then you're basically very pretty much done with that process. So let me show you. Let me go. Oh, sorry, I stopped. Okay, I'm still sharing my offer. Yeah. So let me show you where to find that form and how to start looking into it. So if you go again, you go to our homepage, and this is, you can find it under the policies part in the top menu. You go to requesting control access data. Here's pretty much step-by-step documentation on how to go and do all this. But just to show you, so here is the link to download that initial document, the data use certificate agreement. You download that file, you print it, you take it to your officials, you sign it, and then you will upload it to the next step, which is the data access request. So by clicking here, so here is all the information step by step on how to fill out this form. But here, the top link takes you to our page in our catalog with all these DARs. So right now you only see a few DARs, which are the ones that are public. If you want to create your own DAR, like I said, you will need to log in. So because you can see here, you don't have any option to create a new DAR. But if you log in, and I will log in with a user that is just a regular user, that is just a member of the FaceBase user team. And as you can see, now I have an option to create a form. So now I will create the form, click create, and then you will see all these fields that I think they're extremely well explained here what each of these fields mean. But basically you give a title, you select the principal investigator, you explain what are the aims or the research statements, the non-technical statement, how the data is, how your study is going to be consistent with the data use limitations of the data, what are the security measures that you have in order to keep this data secure, you list your collaborators, and then a few questions about your IRB. If the data requires an IRB, then this is where you will be able to upload the copy of your IRB approval letter, the copy of the approved IRB protocol. Here you click these links that says select file, and that opens a browser in your computer, and you can pick up a file directly from your computer. So you will pick up the PDF file and upload it. And then once you're done with this process, you will have to sign this request by the officials, in your institution, and you will upload that signed document again in here, and then you click submit, and that will generate basically the form. And that once you selected that form, and then you select the data sets, that gets into the NIDCR people. The NIDCR people basically has a few back and forth with you to make sure that you have all the required documentation, and then once it's approved, you are free to download and use the data for 1 year. So,
Alejandro, just
yes.
really quickly, can you close that reminder pop-up?
This one?
Yeah.
Sure.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, so let me go here. So this is basically, you know, I'm gonna show you what these are public records, so we can probably show you what a final DAR looks like. So you see all the information that these scientists have entered, their data sets that he have requested, the encryption key that you upload in order, so that typically what we're doing right now, although this is in transit, we're about to make it way more dynamic. But basically, once you request, you select your requested data sets, you upload an encryption key, we package all your data, encrypt it with your key, and then we make it available right here for you to download. So, is there any questions regarding this process of requesting control access data? Well, anyways, the most important takeaway is that you need to go to policies, requesting control access data, and pretty much here you have all the information. And if you, for some reason, have any questions, you can email us at help@facebase.org, or you can directly contact the NIDCR Data Access Committee, which is also, you have those links here in this page. So probably more important part is how to get to this page, which has all the information about how to request human subject data. Maybe one more thing I can say is that, again, if you're trying to see how to get to this data, like Rob mentioned, we have all these facets that allows you to narrow your search. One very quick way of getting and seeing all these human subject control access data set is by using the protected human subject facet. So here, if I click yes, it narrows and shows me the 68 matching data sets. You know, you can go through each of these data sets and, you know, start gathering information. If that's something that interests you, then you can submit the data access request form and get the data. Okay, so I think that, any other questions?
Yeah, I think we can go into our Q&A session.
Yeah.